In the last video, I have spoken about why you freeze in meeting, mid-conversation, or in front of a big settings. It's not the vocabulary, it's just your stress shutting down your prefrontal cortex in order for you to comprehend the whole thing. So many of you ask me the obvious question, so how do I fix it? Here's the honest answer. You can't really think your way out of a stressful situation when your brain is completely thinking about whether you're safe or not, but you can train your brain to come out of it or use the words or phrases or speak in that language no matter what kind of situation you are in. Today I'm going to give you the exact drill that I use. It has 3 layers and it's going to take about 15 minutes of your day. It's going to build your speech to be so automatic that it's going to even survive your cortisol spike. So I have already talked about procedural memory and how it works. It's basically your brain working in an automatic state. So you talking with someone as well as driving a car, that's your procedural memory helping you out to do both simultaneously. So your brain is so trained in doing something that you don't need to put that extra effort or you don't need to give that extra attention to that particular task. Okay, so the part one is where you get a set of vocabulary or phrases. Now here many of you are going to get me wrong. What I'm trying to say is that you're going to get phrases or a set of vocabularies which you are using in your life. So for me, suppose I'm a student. What am I? I am an architectural student. So where I'm using most of my words at during presentations, right? So during presentation there will be set of vocabulary or phrases that I'm going to use again and again and again and again. For example, it could be like, as you can see in this sheet or as you can see in this structure. So these are the phrases that I personally use on a regular basis. So if you are from real estate, you're going to use a different set of phrases. If you're from finance, you're going to use a different set of phrases, right? So I want you to understand what kind of phrases you are using in your daily life or you have to use in your daily life. And it could be in meetings, it could be with some of your colleague, or it could be even in your classroom. I want you to identify your phrases and your words and make a list out of it. So I want you to make a list of approximately 10 words or phrases. Step 2 is overlearn them. So here is where people are going to get me wrong. So when I tell you you're going to practice it or say it out loud every single day for 1 to 3 days, you're going to be saying it out loud repeatedly. I'm not saying you say it out loud 1 or 2 times and you get done with it. No, I want you to say it repeatedly for 10 to 15 times if possible in a day. So you can do it in the morning once, you can do it in the evening once, and if you can do it at night. And in one setting you can say it a few times, like each word try to repeat it in 3 times at least in the morning, then maybe 3 in the afternoon. Like I want you to say it out loud, because the way you train your brain saying it and the way you just train your brain just saying it in your mind is a two different thing. You don't want to train your brain saying it within you, like murmuring or just remembering it. No, I want your mouth, your visuals, everything to be trained when you're speaking it out loud, because ultimately you're going to be using these words in front of people. I want you to do it for 3 days, and by day 4, trust me, you're gonna see that you're saying this out loud, all of these words, way automatically than you said on the first time, and you will be saying it out very fastly, comparatively, right? That's your procedural memory taking over from the prefrontal cortex, and that's the whole target of layer 1. Now, here's the problem if you stop with layer 1. The kind of setting that you are saying these words aloud in is not the same as the settings that you want to be using these words in, right? So if you stop over here, you're going to lose over there itself. So if you are training and using these words in comfortable situations or alone, you're training your brain only to be able to use them in comfortable situations or alone. You won't be able to use them when you're in a stressful situation or when you actually have to use it. This is where we borrow a concept from sports psychology and clinical training called stress inoculation, if I'm not wrong. Deliberately practicing under small manageable amount of stress. So your system builds tolerance before you need it in a high stake situation. So now let me tell you, you are not trying to recreate a full intensity of a boardroom or something. This is not what we are going to do in layer 2. I want you to have a very small controlled, stressful situation where you are in control, you are in charge. So few example of the situation could be you just recording and sending it to a friend, someone who would not judge you, or maybe it could be your parents, someone who would not judge you, and you're going to ask zero feedback from them. It's just that you're allowing one person to listen what you have been practicing. The second could be you just practicing in front of a mirror. When you practice in front of a mirror, I have talked about this a lot. So when you're practicing in front of a mirror, you see yourself doing it, and that kind of gives you a confidence, that kind of lets you, think about, oh, this is how I look while doing it, right? Then set a timer. So you can set a timer and then maybe have like what, a 5-second timer, 10-second timer, and try to use these words, or remember all of these phrases within that timeline. This mimics the pressure of you not having time before you speak. Divided attention. So this you do when you are simultaneously doing something else. So while you are speaking out these phrases or vocabulary, you are also doing something else. It could be something like you are just walking, or it could be something like you are just doing some chore, or you are just writing something down, or maybe you are just folding your clothes. It could be anything, but you are just having divided attention. The point of all of this is the same. You are not trying to have high intensity stressful situation. You are just having small controlled stressful situation, and you are seeing whether you can use the words in those situations. And if you fail in this situation, which you will, I want you not to think about, whether, like, okay, I can't do it, I can't do it in real time. This is just going to determine that you have to do a little bit more than you are already doing, and you need a little bit, probably 1 or 2 days more of practice. So this is not somewhere you stop at all. After layer 1 and layer 2 has happened, now for layer 3 you're gonna notch it up a little bit, and you're gonna take it to real situations. So we are gonna have other people getting involved as well as yourself. So this is right before you actually get into a high stakes situation, right? So for first, I want you to record yourself in a video. Like, you could be saying some kind of speech, or you could be explaining something, and I want you to use those phrases or the vocabularies and record yourself. And then you also go through the recording to see how you are pronouncing it, how you are explaining that, what is your body language while doing that. That also gives you an insight on how you look and how you're saying it, whether you like it or not, as well as it gives you a confidence that, okay, look at me saying that. Second is sending a voice memo to someone trusted. So last time we did it to a friend, right? But this time you're going to do it to a colleague, or someone a little bit more professional. So while you're sending this voice memo, you hear it again and again until you are actually like you are confident with it. But you send it, you start sending it, start sending these small voice memos, or maybe some text. It could be anything, but use these phrases and send these, so that it gains you that first level of confidence in using these phrases and words in corporate, or where you ultimately want to use, these are the people that you are going to use it for. Then you work this phrase into a real-time conversation. It could be a coffee chat, something very low stake, like something very small. It could be a coffee chat, it could be just you colleagues sitting and talking, or you're just with your friends talking. So while you are in this conversation, you just slip in some phrases or some vocabulary that you have been practicing on, and that's how you introduce yourself using these in small situation, for you to make yourself prepared for the high stake situation, like a meeting, or sometime a review. For me, it's a review. So now your brain is slowly gonna be used to using these words automatically in any kind of situation. So in a high stakes situation, rather than you wishing that your willpower will make yourself calmer and help you speak up or speak proficiently, I think your brain automatically will make you do it, because you have practiced and trained it to use it in so many situations. So yeah, that's how the whole process is working. So here is what an actual week looks like, right? So for the first you have to choose 3 to 5 phrases. You can go up to 10 depending on you. And for the first 3 days, you have to get the list of those vocabulary or phrases, and you have to say it out loud the way I explained it. You have to say it out loud for first 3 days, and then 3 and 4, you're gonna do the second layer. So what we do is we use these phrases or words in divided attention situation, or you're using it while you are just talking with yourself, or you're looking at the mirror, something like that. Day 5, 6, you have to use these words in a low stress situation. It could be you just having a coffee chat with one of your friend, or you are just sending a voice memo, or you just shoot yourself while you're talking, something like that, something that comes with a little bit stress, little bit of uncomfort, but nothing major. Then you rotate it in a new batch. So once the whole batch is done, and a week is done of you using that certain phrases, you come up with another list of phrases, and that phrase you again go through the whole cycle in the next batch again for 7 days. You do the same exact thing, and at the end of a month you can imagine how many words and phrases you will have, which you can use in any kind of situation, in any kind of high stake you know cortisol spike situation where your brain might not be functioning. You don't need to feel less nervous, or you don't need to calm yourself to be able to speak English properly. What you actually have to do is basically train your brain for it to have procedural memory of that language, so that you can use it without you trying to be calm, or without you being calm in any kind of situation, in any kind of speech setting. You can just use it because your brain is just so used to using it. If you want, I can drop 15 words starter list which you can use, phrases and vocabulary that you use in meetings and everything. I will attach it in the bio below, the description below, and you can check it out if you want. Try layer 1 this week and let me know what kind of phrases you're choosing. I would love to know that, and share with me in the comments below, and we'll have a chat over there. See you in the next one. Bye.